World War II shaped the lives of a generation. The war broke families apart, brought communities together, and turned a depressed economy into an industrial machine. On the home front, citizens sold war bonds and collected scrap metal for the factories. Friends were made and lost as a generation of boys was sent into combat. Penn State Public Broadcasting invited those who lived this history to share their stories of World War II.
My name's William R. Carl, and I served in the military from April 1943 until October 1945. I was in the 18th Infantry, Cannon Company 18th Infantry. Well, it wasn't until the last few days before we departed to embark at Weymouth Harbor. It was just a few days before that we actually was found out that we were going to be in the invasion of Europe, Normandy. When we boarded the landing craft at Weymouth Harbor in England, or Weymouth Harbor, then we knew that something was up. The real thing was coming, but we still hadn't encountered anything yet, because this was on the other side of the channel. This was on the England side. That was the real McCoy. Then after we got across the English Channel, I assumed was around 20. As history tells, it was about 20 to 30 miles across the English Channel. But the real thing was when we neared the French shores. And heard all the bombardment and everything. That was when we knew the real thing was coming. Then we knew it was it. When you really got to the shores, and when we started unloading, and then when we got stuck, with the landing craft got stuck, and we had to embark, the Navy, I guess he was a J. Jig. When he told the company commander, he says, "This is as far as I can get you. We can't get any closer." And of course, that's when we started coming off the ship. The Jeep went in the water. It was out of sight. Jeep never came up. Nothing. It was deep water. We were saddled right there. I would estimate it was about 275 yards or so from the beach. So the company commander says, "Get ready to go ashore." When our half track went off, I knew we were in it. When we hit the water, we were done. It just didn't go. And the Jeep half track driver come up out of the water, spitting and coughing and choking because he was down under the water. And then when we stood up and the water was waist high, there we were. We were in the water and we weren't going nowhere. So somebody on the ship says, "You got to get out. You got to get going, get ashore." We still had to keep moving. All my thoughts was forward, swimming. I had to swim. I knew I had to get to shore. And then when I got closer to the shore, and this officer was going up and down the beach yelling, he was out there yelling, and he was taking command, and he had guys in there. I don't know whether they were even Navy. They might have been Navy men. And he wanted ropes. He said, "I want these ropes." They had big rolls of rope. They were probably 1 inch in diameter. And he wanted them taken out and hooked on to the landing craft. And as I recall, going up the hill, I seen guys coming in on the ropes, and they were using the ropes. And I'm assuming, as I look back that day, I didn't think, but later I said, I wonder how many men couldn't swim that hit that channel in the water, because there were so many men screaming. I can't believe they all got hit. Some of them got hit, some of them got wounded. A lot of them were dead. They were piled up just like cordwood on the beach. I heard them screaming on the beach. I heard guys screaming, "Help me, help me, help me!" And where the medics everybody was probably disarrayed, at all the commotion was going on. If somebody said, "Were you scared?" and I said no, I'd have been lying about it. They had a bulldozer engineers, and bulldozers was pushing men aside. They were guys that knew what they were doing. They weren't crushing or they were pushing men aside, making a path for the tanks and heavy equipment that was coming ashore too. We could see that from above when we got up on the side of the hill. I ended up in a minefield. They had it all the engineers had it roped off with white tape. And somebody yelled, "Hey, don't go in there, that's a minefield." And I stopped dead in my tracks. As you know, you step on a mine, you probably blow your foot off your leg. So I just turned around, and the other kid says, "What are you going to do, Carl?" I says, "I'm going right back out the same way I came in, because I stretched out and went right in the same tracks as I came in. I figured that was a safer thing to do," which it was. So then I went around where they had it taped, and we proceeded up the hill, picked up a rifle. There was plenty of rifles laying around. We went up the hill until we run into a hedgerow up there, and that's when everybody had to stop. There was a lot of firing out ahead of the hedgerow. The first thing the officers, dig in, get ready for counterattacks, but you just dig as fast as you can and try to dig a slit trench 6 inches deep or something to get your body safe from any fire. And you didn't dare to stand up. You didn't dare to stand up because you might have get hit with stray bullets flying all over. You don't know. That night, as we were laying up there in the foxhole, you could see all this burning down on the shore. The landing craft were on fire. And as daylight come, and we woke up, and then things kind of settled down. There wasn't much firing and stuff. So the general order, whoever the officer was at that time, says anybody that hasn't got any equipment now is the best time to get down and on the shore and pick up some bedding and whatever you need. So we go down and get blanket rolls and stuff. So we had to use it. Didn't have nothing. Pick up a pack, because the shore was stuff laying around from dead personnel. Plenty of them. I wasn't a veteran, but at the end of that day, I considered myself a veteran at that night, what I went through, because I never dreamed I was going to go through something like that when the day started. We just proceeded on as a company until we got organized as a company. It took us 3 weeks to get about 3 to 4 miles in from the shore, because the going was slow. There was Germans out there in front. Yeah, I killed I killed one S-trapper and helped my friend finish off the other one. Yeah, I was involved in killing 2 of them, let's put it that way. And this officer asked him a question. He wanted to know, certain things that was going on, and the one SS trooper spit right in his face. Spit right at him. He spit right in his face. I've seen him do it. And so he was a major, and he became enraged, and he says, and we were up there in security guard from down in our headquarters. This was back at Regimental. And he says, take these 2 out. It was at a farmyard night. He says, take these 2 out behind the barn. He says, I don't want to see them back here. So this kid and I, we took them out, and it was like I say, we're dumbfounded, And so we went out behind the barn. He says, geez, Carl, he called me Carl. He said, what are we going to do? I says, shoot him. What the hell? We had our carbines right there. And he said, shoot him? Yeah, he said, take him out. He said, I don't want to see him back here. And so I said, it's a direct order from the major. I never thought nothing out about the legal part, So they were standing right there, and he just kept looking at me, staring me right. Of course, SS troopers, they never smiled anyhow. They were kind of mean. And so I just brought up my rifle, and he says, "You going to shoot him, Colonel?" I said, "What are you going to do?" He says, "Well, it don't mean nothing to me." I said, "He's an S trooper." I said, how many American soldiers do you think that they've shot? Geez, he says, I don't know. And he was a little bit more, I didn't care. I felt that way because he told me that. So I pulled that carbine up and I aimed right for his heart because I didn't want him to move after I shot him. He went down and this kid shot right after I did. And he was kind of nervous. And the guy fell down on the ground. The guy I had shot and fell, he didn't move. And the other guy was moving a little bit. So I went up and he said, "Carl, I don't know if I said, I told you to shoot him in the heart." So I went up and I pumped another one. I shot one right in his heart, so make sure. And he was dead. But then we come around back, and they left laying there. So I don't ever know what happened to them after that. But we went out in front, and pretty soon the major, the interrogating officer, he says, evidently he was through. There was a few other prisoners there, but I don't think that they were SS guys. These two were definitely SS. They were mean troopers. And so we come back, and then finally he says, well, you guys can go. He says, and so then they come and got us in a Jeep and took us back down to the headquarters. And so I never talked too much about it because I got to thinking later. I said, Jesus, I just wondered if somebody would have seen us and reported it to the legal guy, for the Army. We might have been in serious trouble. But I think the major could have been in serious trouble if anything was ever done about it. Thank goodness it was never a question about it or nothing. Because you never know. I mean, the Army acts in mysterious ways. I found that out more times than one. In 1994, we went back with a group from our society, the 1st Division. It was hard to visualize the area. We were on the beach right down by Normandy. When we went down the beach from the bus up the top of the hill, when we went down the beach, we weren't sure that we were in the same spot that we were on D-Day. We might have been in the same area within 100 or a few hundred feet, but we don't know if we were we were in the vicinity of Omaha. That's what they tell us, the people, the guide. But he says, I don't know if you're going to be exactly right where you come ashore in 1944. And we had several memorials. We had one right up at the top of Omaha Beach. We had a wonderful memorial up there. It was a beautiful, beautiful cemetery. And the rows of white crosses, you just couldn't get over of when you look at 9,962 white crosses. It's something you just remember that all the guys that paid the supreme sacrifice. I mean, when people talk about you were over in D-Day, I said, yeah, but we're not the guys that you want. The heroes are those guys up there beneath the white crosses.